the Father led me over here to tell you that you need to read this book, Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. Read this book. I read that book, and reading that book, it gave me the encouragement to keep pushing with my faith. That maybe the Father, like what I conceived or what Scripture said was truly how you're supposed to live this life. So it pushed me to keep going. So after I finished school and whatnot, I went out to Cali, and the missionary program, I don't know, I guess everybody had a different experience, but the one I signed up for, I don't know what was going on because that was just nonsense. And, sex in the program and just basic things, like giving homeless people rotten food because it's donated,
That's crazy.
It's just like, it just keeps getting worse. Like, it's just bad.
Hey, when you just want to dream big, you can't let nobody hold you down, man. Don't let nobody stop you from what you're trying to achieve in life, man.
These are Shaklee energy chews.
Wow.
And they're quite amazing. They're pretty inexpensive too for what they do.
Shaklee energy shit.
Shaklee's a company that's been around for like 60 plus years, since 1956. They have a huge sports energy line.
Thanks for the. I don't know which one. What tea you wanted from there?
The half and half tea.
A half and half what?
It says
half
Arizona
half
tea.
That one, that drink you want. So I have to mix it. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, do you guys just have the lemonade?
I can do both. It's not a problem.
I'll do just the lemonade if you have it.
Oh, Derek, you wanted water too, right?
Yeah, I can just do just the lemonade if you have it.
Another water for.
Another one.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take a water too as well.
Okay.
So
I've had something like this before.
It's like citrusy,
Mm-hmm.
but what I really like about it is that I'm hypoglycemic,
Mhm.
so I don't do well with a lot of the
they
energy
come.
things out there. Like I can't do a Red Bull. I can't do those
So it's like
5-hour
gives you the
energy
energy?
things. It messes up my adrenals too much and my blood sugar too
Can't do
much.
that again.
These, I'm like just alert.
Interesting.
I'm awake. But I can go home after skating and I'm tired for an hour drive,
I can't.
and I'll have one of these at the end of skating before I get in the car, or shortly after getting in the car, and I'm alert driving home. It's amazing how.
I'm gonna look it up
And then
on
I get
Amazon.
home and I can go right to bed, and it won't keep me up all night.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
You say it's amazing?
I have a couple friends that skate with me, and I will bring them to skating, and I mean everybody hits me up for them at skating, but there's a couple of people that are like, oh, I need to order like 3 of those bags, and I'm like, all right, I'll get them ordered. I'll bring them when I come, when they come in, and
The
the
lamb
lamb shawarma,
shawarma. Got some hummus. What's the white stuff?
That is
garlic sauce.
garlic sauce.
Garlic sauce.
Good garlic sauce.
And the green stuff, the
Tabbouleh.
tabbouleh.
The Touche Village.
Nothing.
Enjoying. How's your smoothie?
It's delicious, y'all.
What was in it?
It's the Energizer. I think it had. Let me see. Excuse me. It has strawberry, mango, pineapple, and banana.
Ooh, yum. All the different things that you need.
They thought they were, or where I was, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't connect. So I finally went to the Dream Center, and all through this, like a lot of different experiences that helped my faith. Like when it comes to even like I didn't have enough money for school to graduate, and I started doing like what is that called? The speaking, the speaker group.
Speaking engagements.
No, like speaking engagements, but like where they practice auditory speaking.
Okay.
Like it's like a
Communications type of thing.
yeah, communications group. I forgot what it's called, but it's like learning how to publicly speak. It's a national organization. I joined it in the subdivision in the part of DC, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to finish school. The head loan officer was inside of my speaking thing, and she said, come to my office tomorrow, and she wiped everything that I needed to go. You know what I'm saying? So you can go to school. So it was just like this. She said, do not pay for another thing. I didn't listen to her, but I paid for my graduation. She got mad. She says, I could have covered that. You shouldn't have paid for that. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, she was serious. Yeah, she was serious. And the father was just like, kept putting people to help me and push me along. Or even like when I was about to walk away from my faith, because I just felt like people were joking. Everybody was just taking it for a joke. I was,
That's the world, right?
It was my freshman year. I was playing. I was about to start. I was about to do my first stride at entrepreneurship, and I was fixed gear life. I was riding my sandals, and I scraped the front of my toe off. The whole summer, everything I planned was I couldn't move. I had to sit. So as I'm sitting, I find my foot finally heals, and I'm so mad. I wasted my whole summer, and I'm shooting hoops outside, like on like the campus. I'm by myself, and everybody's finally coming back on campus. I'm like, I am heated.
Yes.
And this random man comes up to me. He starts asking me questions like, "What's your major? What are you doing?" Like, you know, I'm like, this weird dude is asking me all these weird questions. I don't want to talk to you. Whatever, bro. I am mad. Yes, this is my major. Whatever you want to know, this is all me. So I'm still shooting, and he says, "Listen, man, I ain't even supposed to be up here shooting. See that truck over there? I'm a news reporter. My name's Shamari Stone. I work for CNN. The Father led me over here to tell you that you need to read this book, Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. Read this book." I read that book, and reading that book, it gave me the encouragement to keep pushing with my faith. That maybe the Father, like what I conceived or what Scripture said, was truly how you're supposed to live this life. You know, so it pushed me to keep going. So after I finished school and whatnot, I went out to Cali, and the missionary program, I don't know, I guess everybody had a different experience, but the one I signed up for, I don't know what was going on, because that was just nonsense. And, you know, sex in the program, and just basic things, you know, like giving homeless people rotten food because it's donated, you know, like just.
That's crazy.
You know, it's just like, it just keeps getting worse. Like, it's just bad, you know.
And you said that happened where?
In Dream Center in California.
Wow.
You know, and just like the directors and what they were doing, and it was just finding out all these bad things, you know. And there was some lights inside the program or whatnot. But one thing it made me do, that it was so bad, I had to lean on the Father in a way that was into my uncomfort zone, because I'm not a reader. I had to read the Bible. I had to start reading the Bible to defend the Father in the program. You know, and I was calling my parents, and it wasn't enough. Like, they weren't giving me enough information. So I started reading, and that began my journey of finally reading. I always wanted to read the Word, but I finally read it from cover to cover. I started inside the program, and I got kicked out of the program because me and the director got into it.
You're like,
here. I was like, right here, like, bro, like, this is wild, bro. This is wild. You're setting me up to get killed the way this program's going, you know. And so I went back home. I finished reading the Word. And I felt like I got it. And the first thing that the Father drew me to was following the Sabbath. So I started following the Sabbath. And then from there, it opened up. But everything that I believed the Word to be, of love and kindness and gentleness and really growing that inner person, that's really what the message was so simple. And what I saw what churches were teaching versus what the Word says, it blew my mind. You know, because the Father's Word is so light. You know, and so that's my and from that point I just kept on growing, kept on adding on, kept reading more, kept on growing inside of myself, and I finally felt free. Like that I had a prayer as a child from all the pain that I had throughout my parents' divorce. Father, heal my heart. Like, Father, like, get this pain off of me. And it took up until I would say the last 2 years for the Father to remove all that pain that was inside of me. And it took a lot of work, and I'm thankful. Like, it was like a prayer of a 8-year-old was finally answered, you know. And it's like this. And so for me, I feel like this, you know, it took a 20, like, how old am I now? 31. So how that? What's 8 minus 31? I don't know how old that is. What's 8 minus 31? Like 12? I don't know.
24.
You said 8 minus 31?
Yeah, I ain't good.
Or you mean 31 minus 8?
Don't talk about my degree.
23.
Okay, yeah, so 23. So it took 23 years of waiting, and I finally got it. And I share it with as many people as I can, you know, to through my coaching, you know what I'm saying, or I just talk to people. I don't really care. It's like this. If you want to be, like, if anybody wants to be free, hey, holla at a brother, you know. And I can, the Father showed me the path, you know, so I can get to a level, and I keep on growing, you know. So hallelujah. Testimony. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mine doesn't top that.
Right. She's like, what am I gonna make up now to beat that?
It's just like, mine is very simple. Like,
Yeah, go for it.
I've always knew God growing up.
Mhm.
I didn't grow up in a church, but my mom made sure we knew who God was.
Mhm.
He wasn't a stranger.
Right.
So we always knew who he was. And for me, I would say I grew up around falsified Christians as well.
Mhm.
People who still claim they're Christian, but also battle with
Everything good?
forbidden things as well. Like they live double lives.
Right. Like it's one thing to live that double life,
Yeah.
but at least admit that, you know, I'm living this life, it's wrong, and I'm working on overcoming it. But they don't even do that. They're just like
No.
living the double life, like
They're just
whatever.
like, oh yeah,
You want to pay for
I'll
this plate?
do what I want, and then I'll just go and pray on Sunday. It's
Mhm.
no, it doesn't
Chicken
really work
shawarma
like that.
wrap.
But
Chicken shawarma.
yeah, that's mine.
Lamb shawarma wraps.
Chicken shawarma. Yep, that's mine.
So this one's mine. Thank you.
You want any cake? You can put it.
Yes, can I get a container to take some of this one? Thank you.
We ended up getting a cheaper meal.
Oh, sorry,
Chicken?
I was interrupted. And I
You
didn't
sure?
hear most of that.
Yeah, we didn't get
Oh,
that
you're fine.
$16
I was saying
thing.
that,
What'd you get?
I grew up with
It was-
pasta
How much?
peppers.
One of those rack.
How much?
Ones who
It's like
live double
$5.99.
lives.
Oh, okay.
So that's what was pretty much promoted.
My total
to me.
is
But it
That's what I thought you had got.
I don't know what it was in my
$6.35.
heart, but
She didn't put the
God placed it
lemonade on
my
here though.
heart to make
But
a
she put it on one of yours.
I think it was like the age of 6. I was like, yeah, I don't know what changed. I mean, you were so different.
I'm not gonna say no.
You know, I was very violent and angry all the
Thank you.
time. Didn't know what's going on. And then I changed. And just like,
God did it.
yeah, it was God. And I knew it was. And based off of how, you know, I changed my heart, I left an impact on my family as well. Even though I didn't even know it was an impact being
Keep
left.
this in my wallet.
But I always knew that there was like a higher
THC
power. Even
test.
if I didn't understand God at the time.
Right.
But I knew who he was, and I know what his job was, and I knew what I needed to do as a Christian. So, you know, I don't know what my testimony technically would be as far as like discovering, because I always knew who he was. But as far as like taking him seriously, I'll say 16. I was 16. I promised myself that I was going to remain a virgin until I was married.
Mm-hmm.
Even though all the influences, not everyone in my family did it, you know. They're like, oh, it's just sex. Like,
Everyone's doing it.
Who's about to sit here and wait around?
So you
for
still a
someone?
virgin to this day?
Yes, absolutely.
Congrats. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Keep it
Mhm.
going.
And I keep that vow to
very-
myself because I'm like, well,
The world
I
doesn't
can still
understand.
date. You know, you can still hang out with people, but I'm not getting peer pressured
All right.
or anyone being
want me
influenced
to
by
wrap
me
this up for
making
you
a
to
certain
take home?
decision
Oh, you
that I
got
don't
it.
want to make.
You
And
want me to
trust
take
me,
this?
Yeah, you could take
I've
it.
had those
Yeah.
influences and those people try to
Well, thank
change
you.
my mind and say, oh yeah, no one's gonna sit here and wait for you. Like, what guy is gonna be around? Like, I don't let that influence me.
Yeah,
I believe
me
in a
either.
father, and I'm like, whoever he has.
I mean,
he's
a
gonna
woman's
continue.
womb is like the most valuable thing
Yeah.
Exactly.
a woman can offer to a man in marriage. So it's like,
It's
why
more to
not
it than just,
cherish that?
oh, a good feeling. And if they knew Christ, they'll understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So being basically, I'll say the second one because my mom, she was one who did it. She waited, and I was influenced by her mostly. But everyone else was like, just do it. This new generation, you know, you're old school. No one does it anymore. And I'm just like, no, I'm still holding on because I have faith.
All right.
So I'm not gonna sit here and just let society eat that up for me. So, and I, you know, it started basically with that. Me being abstinent and celibate,
Yeah.
like, that's not happening. So
Yeah,
it is. I always knew the word, but I really didn't start like getting into it how I should until I met Derek. He asked me a question. He was like, "What is keeping you from actually reading the word and understanding it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, I don't. I've always knew the word, you know. Like, from my understanding, I'm like, yeah, I grew up in the church. I know a lot of scripture, but I don't know scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Not how I should, at least. So I'm making a goal for myself to read the entire Bible, front to back. Derek had asked me, what's keeping you from like, what's your resistance? That's what it was.
Oh, what's your resistance?
Yeah,
Okay.
he had asked me, what is your resistance? And I'm like, my resistance? Resistance? I'm like, I don't
it over and
I don't
take care
know.
of everything. So.
I honestly couldn't ask that question because it
You
never
like the
crossed
food?
my
Everything
mind
good?
to actually sit down
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
healthy.
I need
and
to tell them,
read
you need to bring
the
this
Bible.
You
Not
know
only
suburban,
read it,
right?
but
You
understand
know
it.
the
Like, I knew it. I knew what they were
burger
saying. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
The-
true. This is true.
the
That's
burger
true. But
Yeah.
No,
I've
I'm
never
allergic.
read it in my
You
own
don't take your
perspective.
mask
That's why I thought
It's-
you,
yeah.
you don't
She's
order.
a-
I've
She
never
love
read it
that
in my
mask.
own perspective
You
to
don't
get
order with the
an understanding and a better relationship with him. Like really understanding him and knowing him truly. I didn't get that. So my testimony, I feel like it's still ongoing. it hasn't even been completed yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a short journey for
It's
most people.
not,
It's a
but
path, it's a
he's,
walk.
you know, he's always been in my life. Like, I always knew Christ, I always knew who he was, but really understanding who he is and having a better understanding on how his relationship could be better with me, I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm still discovering that as of today. And I'm glad he blessed him in my life because he's helped me a lot. Like, it's been a long journey within the past, few months?
Yeah.
Man, the only reason why I met Derek was because I got into a car accident.
Facts.
Literally. If I would have never gotten into a car
Proof
accident,
that bad
I
things,
wouldn't be here.
good things can come out of bad
I wouldn't
situations.
know him. Like, seriously, I could not make this up.
And it's crazy. I only went skating. I only went skating because somebody called me and said, "Bro, let's do something different."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "This man, I found out there's a skating rink open till 12 o'clock on a Wednesday."
Uh-huh.
I was like, "On a Wednesday?" I was like, "Well, I can go skating station." And so I went, and the people that I invited never came.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out there was classes, and I kept going. And you know, so the guy who I no, I don't believe in pledging, but the guy who I did pledge with, he had a YouTube video that I watched, and he encouraged me. He's like, "Oh, if you want to learn what Detroit style skating is, go to skating station." I found out that was the skating rink I went to, so I went back for classes. So that's how I got started skating, and just
And then years later, we bump into each other.
yeah. And then years later, I bumped into Kelvin. So it was like,
That's
you
great.
know, it's like this. You know, it's like this. And I think, like, I kind of thought, like, man, I've really, for all the relationships that were bad, I've what's it called, reconciled. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least for where they were. Like, every relationship in my life, I've literally, everything bad that I've done, I have reconciled with every single person. Sat down, apologized, talked to them out. I have reconciled everything. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess after I reconciled that, now Kelvin, somebody I grew up with, somebody that lives in Maryland, pops up on a photo shoot with somebody he doesn't know that my family is connected to, that I known them for like 4 or 5 years, to a shoot for people who skate. And it was only 8 people, and we reconciled our relationship. It's just more reconciliation that I don't know that's going to unfold is going to unfold. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
God be working.
Yeah, so to Yahoo would be
Like,
the glory.
God, man, you don't ever take a break, man? Like, oh, I'm working over here. Like, gee.
Yeah, to Yahoo would be the glory.
Yeah, big gremlin, about to get my groove on. Choppers too long, big luggage, no U-Haul. Touched a few souls, got them living like Duval. Angels staying too tall, mental thoughts loot all. BLM, who they be, gang banging. ALM, who we be, God slanging. Big stepper, Bigfoot, black pepper. James 47, big storm, my weather.